Hello, I'm Jennifer from Fox News. Today we are introducing a very important guest, the founder of the American Red Cross, ClaraBarton. How are you doing today, Clara?
I'm doing pretty good, Jen. Thanks for having me.
No problem, Clara. Thanks for coming. Now let's get on with some questions. So let's start with your childhood. When were you born, Clara, and who was in your family?
Well, I was born December 25th, Christmas, in 1821 in Oxford, Massachusetts, to a family of 4 siblings and a mom and a dad. My mother was a homemaker, and my father was a miller and a farmer. They did their best to take care of me. My siblings include Sally, a popular student, David, an eccentric leader, Stephen, a businessman, and Dorothy, a well-respected teacher. To say my family was exceptional wouldn't be an understatement.
That sure is true. Now tell me, did you receive any education in your youth?
Oh, I sure did. From the ages 1 to 4, my family helped tutor me. By the age 6, I began my formal teaching. I immediately loved all my lessons of astronomy, ancient history, and poetry lessons. I loved school, but I was fairly quiet and didn't have many friends. At age 6, my parents noticed this and sent me away to boarding school to try and make me louder. However, when I came back after a year, I hadn't changed very much, and I was still very quiet. Later in my life, I tutored children that weren't doing very well in school, and I attended a church my family founded each weekend.
Wow, that sure is impressive. You sounded like a very bright child. Now tell me, when you got older, did you have your own family? And if not, why?
Well, I never got married and had any family of my own, but I did become an aunt to some nieces and nephews, though. I was considering getting married, but I never did. I sure am glad I didn't get married, though. I wouldn't have been able to focus on my career as much. I may have not been able to grow up and to become the founder of the American Red Cross.
Speaking of careers, what careers have you had?
I've had a number of careers in my life, but my first one started out with teaching. I started this job in my late teens and continued to teach for over 10 years. I was respected by students and parents alike, but I was very unhappy with this job and quit. After this, I worked in various jobs, including working as a typist in a patent's office. I was later also a renowned nurse in the Civil War, and most of all, founder and president of the American portion of the International Red Cross. I also led a campaign to find deceased soldiers and identify them. I built the American Red Cross up from the ground and made it what it is today.
Wow, Clara, you've had a lot of careers. Can you tell me, between careers, did you get any further education? Also, did religion affect your life?
Well, after I decided to quit teaching, I decided to go to college. Here, I loved all my lessons. I had really needed a break from teaching. It really stressed me out. While I was at college, I met some new people, and I could have gotten married. I didn't let my emotions get in the way of my real goal, however, learning. Moving on, religion wasn't a very big role in the beginning of my middle life. This all changed, however, when my father sadly passed away. On his deathbed, he told me to serve God and help all. This affected my nursing work for years to come.
Very interesting, Clara. Tell me, were there any obstacles in your way in your life?
Yes, there certainly was. I was overcome with depression for some of my life. This was due to unfair treatment because I was a woman, jobs I wasn't comfortable with, and much more. But this was mainly because of the death of my family members. My mother, father, brothers, and sisters all died throughout my life. However, I overcame my obstacles and tried to find the best in things.
I'm very sorry for your loss. Now, let's move on to your later life. Tell me, why did you retire from your position at the American Red Cross as president? What did you do after your retirement?
At age 83, in 1904, I resigned from my position as president of the American Red Cross. I did this because of harsh criticism and accusations filed against me. This included claims that I stole money, was a tyrant, and much more. Of course, I was deeply offended by these hurtful claims, but I simply resigned from my position to prevent more accusations from being filed against me. I quickly fell into depression soon after. But then, I found a small group called the First Aid Association of America. I quickly became their president. and came out of my depression. I also wrote a small book and gave small speeches.
How interesting. Now tell me, were any acknowledgments and honors bestowed upon you?
Yes, of course. I received praise from Cuban officials in the American government. Also, I was awarded the International Red Cross Medal from Geneva for my work in a war, a royal jewel from the Grand Duchess of Baden, a scarlet topaz brooch from the Empress of Germany, and a silver and red enamel medal from the Czar of Russia. After my death, on April 12, 1912, at 90 years old, my home was turned into a National Historic Site in 1974. It was then transferred to the National Park Service in 1975. It was a great honor for me.
Very interesting. You sure did receive a lot of awards, Clara. Oh, looks like we're running out of time for our interview though. So let's move on to our last question. How would history have changed without you, Clara? And how do you believe you're remembered in history?
Well, without me, the work of nurses and doctors on disaster and war fronts in the United States would have been very different and less advanced. Thousands of lost or deceased soldiers in the Civil War would never have been identified. But most of all, the American Red Cross would never have been created, helping thousands of people through natural disasters throughout the United States. I believe I'll be remembered for all these things for years to come. I worked hard and persisted to achieve my goals, shatter the social norms of my time, and help thousands of people.
Wow, well thank you for coming to our show today, Clara. We're very glad we got to learn about your life. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.